So much like many of you out there, I just beat The Last of Us Part 2 and I want to give my opinion on it because it's rare that people give their opinions on the internet and I want it to be original. Anyway, I've been watching a lot of these Last of Us 2 reviews and I feel like there's a lot of blind spots in some of these reviews, and I think that's due to people's nostalgic connections to the original characters from the first game. So stick around as I weigh in my opinion on The Last of Us Part 2 and why I feel Abby is not a bad character at all, and I feel like she gets some undue hate here. This is Dancing with Ghosts. I really enjoyed the first Last of Us game, and the dynamic between Ellie and Joel was arguably the greatest aspect of that particular game. The gameplay itself felt a little stiff compared to other adventure games in that genre, and even though the world seemed open, it was really more or less a linear experience. Yet the game received rave reviews, which kinda tells you everything you need to know about how much that story really carried the game. Now flash forward to June 19th, 2020 when The Last of Us Part 2 comes out. I bought this game day one and could not wait to start playing it. Now, the one advantage that I feel that I had maybe over other people was that I hadn't even beaten the first Last of Us game until about a year ago. So I didn't have years of anticipation built up for The Last of Us Part 2. I avoided all spoilers and I went into this game with zero expectations. The story starts off pretty much how you would expect. Joel, his brother Tommy, Ellie, and many others have formed a new town called Jackson. Ellie is obviously older now, and it's pretty cool to see how she's evolved into a young adult. It's also nice to see Joel and Ellie's connection still seems to be strong. Some of the first real gameplay you experience is patrolling the outskirts of Jackson and cutting down the infested. Before you know it though, there's a cutscene and who the hell are these people? Why am I now playing as this person? Well, my friend, welcome to the giant curveball that will inevitably ruin the game for most people. This is the first time you control a character called Abby. It takes forever to reveal this information, but Abby is the daughter of the surgeon who is going to harvest Ellie's body for a cure to the infestation. If you recall, in the first game, Joel killed everybody who tried to harvest Ellie's body at the end of the game. So now we have the base motivation that runs throughout Part 2 of The Last of Us. Revenge. Lots and lots of revenge. Abby is part of a militia group called the WLF, or Washington Liberation Front. She and her comrades have made it their mission to hunt down Joel and bring him to justice. And by bringing him to justice, I mean turning his face into hamburger meat with a 5-iron. Yes, spoilers, folks. Joel dies early on in this game, and Ellie and Joel's brother Tommy have to watch helplessly. Now after this happens, you're pretty enraged. I mean, you feel the venom coursing through your veins. You want to grab every single one of these motherfuckers and rip their spinal cords out. Who the fuck do they think they are? They just killed off a main character that we've all grown to know and love in the first hour of the game. So this is the basis for The Last of Us Part 2. Ellie, Tommy, and Ellie's new friend, Dina, have taken it upon themselves to seek out every single member involved in Joel's death and kill them one by one. To say that a lot of people weren't expecting the game to be this would be an understatement. So Tommy jumps the gun and goes ahead of Ellie and Dina to start the killing, while Dina and Ellie ride on horseback through the state of Washington to hunt down all of the WLF members. The gameplay in this game feels more fluid than the first game. I especially liked the melee combat, and the weapon selection was decent. But the problems with this game really have nothing to do with the gameplay itself. It's the story we're focusing on. Ellie and Dina comb through WLF's home base of Seattle and systematically eliminate everyone who was complicit in the murder of Joel. And I'm not gonna lie, man, the feeling of sweet revenge kind of coursed through my veins as I took pleasure in delivering payback to these random fuckboys who killed off the beloved main character. Shit gets intense though because you eventually kill a pregnant woman. In fact, Ellie is just a killing machine in this fucking game. So much blood is on her hands when everything is said and done. It just starts to feel very dark after a while. But we can't stop now. We have to eliminate the main assailant of Joel, which is Abby. But right before that happens, Abby ambushes the theater where Ellie, Dina, and Tommy have set up base. And Abby is not so happy that you've just spent a large part of the game killing all of her friends. Now prepare yourself for one of the biggest cases of blue balls in video game storytelling history. Because for the next 10 hours, the video game is going to go back in time and make you play from the perspective of Abby. I really hate it when video games do this. You've invested all this time into one character, accumulated all these items, upgraded your skill trees, just to have all that wiped out, starting all over with a character you don't give a shit about, and now you have to rebuild everything, and it basically becomes a new game. Fuck you for making me do this, was my initial reaction. Eventually though, if you press on, you learn more about the Washington Liberation Front and that Abby's father was in fact murdered by Joel, and that Joel was the only target that the WLF was after, hence why Ellie and Tommy were spared earlier in the game. As you play through the game with Abby, you learn more about her connections with the people who were complicit in Joel's murder, such as Owen, Manny, Nora, and Mel. Honestly, as I play through the Abby portion of the game, I grew sympathetic to these characters and understood why they felt the need to do what they did, especially Abby. It's such a fucking head trip because you see the romantic connection between Abby and Owen, but Abby is so emotionally unavailable and bent on revenge that Owen ends up with Mel and eventually impregnates her, which obviously bothers Abby on some level. And then we meet Nora and Manny, and they're all relatively likable people. But you're having all of these experiences with the knowledge in the back of your mind that all these people are eventually going to fucking die. I think the one that gets me the most is any scene involving Mel, Owen, and Abby. That kind of love triangle thing they had going on. I feel like the story developers made you get way too close to these people just to have them ultimately killed in the game. I thought that was a little bit cruel. Then there are the other characters, such as Lev, who are introduced in the Abby portion of the game, and you become sympathetic to Abby as a caretaker and see that she does have the ability to give a shit. Although I did get confused when she turned against her own WLF team members to help this kid, who was a part of a cult that was against the WLF. But the whole reason that Abby wants revenge against Ellie is because Ellie killed Abby's friends in WLF. But at this point in the game, Abby has killed way more WLF members than Ellie ever did. But I guess since Abby wasn't personally friends with these particular WLF members, she's okay with killing them? She even says at one point in the game when her and Manny are walking through the FOB, quote, "I've never seen any of these people before." Maybe that comment was supposed to allude to the fact that the WLF was getting overrun with a bunch of tin soldiers. Okay, I know this is confusing. Even if you've played the game and beaten it, it's confusing, but we're gonna get through this, damn it. By the time the game finally resumes back to current time, where Abby is confronting Ellie at gunpoint, you have no idea who to root for anymore. Names, stories, and motivations have just been given to all these people that Ellie has slaughtered. You, as Ellie, have just killed a pregnant woman who only wanted to flee Washington with her boyfriend Owen and start a new life. Abby has now lost not only her father, but also all of her friends at the hand of Ellie, Joel, and Tommy. I mean, arguably, Abby has way more of a reason to be pissed off at Ellie, but when everybody talks about this game, they always mention how they hate Abby and how evil she comes across and how unlikable she is. But Ellie has arguably done way more damage to Abby than the other way around. Also in this game, I feel like Ellie comes across just as evil as Abby does. People like to point out how Ellie felt remorse after she killed pregnant Mel, but Abby felt remorse after finding their dead bodies. And Alice, for fuck's sake, man, I even got close to poor little Alice the dog, and even she dies! Both Ellie and Abby have both done horrible things in this game, and if this isn't a two wrongs don't make a right story, then I don't know what is. I feel like both of these characters wanted to be good and wanted the best for the world, but their lust for revenge turned them into fucking demons. I guess the sickest part of all this is that the game designers make you do all of this. You have to kill all of these people. It's the only way you can progress through the game. After the first confrontation between Ellie and Abby, you think the game is going to end happily ever after with Dina and Ellie together in a hot lesbian relationship, but no! Ellie's lust for revenge cannot be quenched. She leaves Dina and her baby and continues to pursue Abby. Abby, on the other hand, is just trying to live her life with her seemingly adopted son Lev. Abby and Lev got captured by some gang called the Rattlers. Ellie finds them and frees them for the sole purpose of having one last battle to the death with Abby. Ellie gets 2 of her fingertips bitten off, and when she finally gets the upper hand and tries to drown Abby, she stops for some reason, has a flashback of Joel, and lets Abby sail away into the fog. Ellie returns home to find Dina has abandoned the house they lived in. Ellie then tries to play guitar, but now struggles to hold down the chords since she's missing 2 of her fingertips, and then she too finally abandons the house and walks into the distance. Happy fucking birthday, everybody. Dude, this game was like spiritually taxing. Like, what the hell did I just play? Like, I understand the message that the creators were trying to convey. Revenge is bad, it's never good, nothing ever good comes from it. If this isn't a two wrongs don't make a right story, I don't know what is, but it's just, I didn't appreciate the way the stories folded kind of on top of each other, and I really didn't appreciate how you made me have feelings for Abby and all of her friends just to know that they were all going to fucking die by my hand playing a different character. You know, and the whole hatred for Abby, again, I don't understand it. Let's recap here. Who lost the most? You have Abby, who, at the hands of Joel, Tommy, and Ellie, lost her father, her ex-boyfriend, who she clearly still had love and feelings for, all of her friends, her dog Alice. Oh, and mankind's fucked because, you know, Ellie was never harvested for a cure because Joel killed the people who could do that. What did Ellie lose? Ellie lost Joel. Now, I understand Joel's a main character from the first game, and there's a lot of kind of feelings for that, and I get that, but I honestly don't think killing off Joel was a bad idea at all. If the second Last of Us game had just been Ellie and Joel kind of navigating through the fallout of their, you know, Ellie finding out that Joel killed all the surgeons to save Ellie's life, and the second game was just them being angry at each other and then trying to kind of come to peace with everything, that would have been very predictable and boring. But that's honestly what the fans wanted. That's not necessarily what I wanted. I was okay with this game up until they made me backtrack for like 10 hours as Abby. That just could have been done with a lot more finesse and just just could have been done better in my opinion. I was hoping, just for what I wanted to see happen, I was hoping at some point Ellie and Abby were going to get like locked in together somewhere in close quarters where they weren't able to fight each other, and they were forced to just sit down and discuss their differences and their problems, and, you know, maybe come to an understanding where they, you know, can learn to understand each other's reasons for doing the things they did, and they can get over their hurt and their betrayal and all that, and they can become allies and make this one big united front against the infested. That would have been a nice happy ending. But how did they choose to end it instead? Well, they give us this dummy ending where Ellie and Dina are supposedly living happily ever after, and then it goes over that, and it's like, nope, not the end yet, and it gives you, it like drags it out almost. And, you know, you go to Santa Barbara, and then there's this weird final conflict with Abby and Ellie again, and nothing happens, and Ellie goes back home, and Dina's left her, and she's missing 2 fingers. So, I don't know, man. I think at the end of the day, though, I really liked this game. I'm over here giving a shit. I'm over here making this video. I care. I care about these characters and what happened, and I haven't felt this way about a game in a long time. So, according to what makes something art, it made me feel. That's sure as shit true. So it's definitely a great piece of art. I really liked the game a lot, despite its foibles, and I hope you enjoyed watching this review. What did you think? That's a loaded question, I'm aware. But give me your comments in the comment section below. And make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Until next time, have a good rest of your night.